2 days after aid began entering Gaza, the United Nations says that none of the supplies have yet reached local people, and that is despite the easing of Israel's 11-week blockade. The UN says despite trucks reaching the Palestinian side of the Kerem Shalom crossing, no aid has been distributed so far. They say they've been waiting for Israeli military permission to collect the supplies, but this has not been given. A BBC correspondent also says that lorry drivers have slept overnight in their vehicle cabins. 93 trucks entered Gaza on Tuesday, carrying aid including flour, baby food, medical equipment and pharmaceutical drugs. Well, meanwhile, Palestinian media are reporting that deadly airstrikes have continued. While the blockade of aid has drawn sharp condemnation from Western allies. The UK is pausing free trade negotiations with Israel, and it announced sanctions on individuals and entities involved in the settler movement in the occupied West Bank. And the European Union voted on Tuesday to review the bloc's ties with Israel, that measure backed by an overwhelming majority of member states. Well, Israel has condemned the EU's decision. It accuses Brussels of completely misunderstanding the situation and providing encouragement to Hamas. Well, let's cross over live to our Middle East correspondent, Yolande Knell, who joins us from Jerusalem. And I think, Yolande, should we just start with where the aid is at the moment? Our understanding is it's crossed over into the Palestinian side of the Kerem Shalom crossing, but it is currently stuck there. Do we know why?
Well, the system requires that once these lorry loads of aid have undergone security checks, they just take them through Israel's main crossing, the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza. That aid is then offloaded, and it requires lorries which are hired by the UN with local drivers inside the Gaza Strip to come and pick up that aid. Now, what we've been told is that those UN teams in Gaza waited for hours yesterday, but were not given the green light by the Israeli military to advance and access those supplies, to take them off to warehouses and to those who really need them. We have been asking for updates this morning, but we've not heard anything yet from either the UN or from the Israeli military or from the Israeli military body that controls the crossings to indicate what is going on. Of course, you know, there are these big logistical and safety issues. The UN has been highlighting that about picking up the aid and distributing it at a time when Israel has been intensifying its military offensive in the Gaza Strip. And one of my colleagues who was at this crossing yesterday said that they did see, you know, heavy bombardment going on not far away from there.
And this is what the Israeli army is describing as a large-scale offensive in Gaza. So what are we expecting?
So what we've continued to see is Israel bombing parts of the Gaza Strip overnight, with more people killed across the Strip. At least 20 of them, according to the Hamas-run civil defense. In particular, we have seen people fleeing in the past couple of days from Khan Yunis, which is not far from this Kerem Shalom crossing, after the Israeli military issued evacuation orders telling people to leave there and to head westwards towards the coast for their own safety. There is this ground operation that is going on in both the north and the southern part of the Strip. And we had the Israeli military's chief of staff saying yesterday, you know, this coming after all of the international criticism that there'd been, basically indicating that Israel's military course is not changing due to the external pressure that there's been, and also some domestic criticism too. He said that the plan was to expand the maneuver in Gaza to destroy the terrorist infrastructure until Hamas is defeated.
And just when it comes to the movement of these people, where are they being moved to? What kind of facilities are there? Is there even a humanitarian area now in Gaza, given the destruction of the whole Strip?
I mean, what we've seen in both the south of Gaza yesterday from the Khan Yunis area, people heading towards Al-Mawasi. This was originally set up among these sand dunes on the coast as what the Israeli military called a humanitarian zone, although aid agencies have rejected that description. At the moment, we're also seeing people who have headed from the western part and the north, from the eastern part and the north of the Gaza Strip westwards, also going towards the coast. people setting up their tents along the beach, but there are very few facilities in these areas, and this coming at a time where already we're told that there are these severe shortages of food, of water in Gaza, of medicines as well. All of that desperately needed, and still the struggle going on to get any aid into Gaza after 11 weeks of a total blockade was imposed by Israel.
Yolande, as always, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. Yolande now there joining us live from Jerusalem. Thank you so much.